Development of education system, upskilling, artificial intelligence, research and job creation are central to Budget 2026. And that's the reason we will discuss the education sector and its expectations from Budget 2026. And for the same, today I am at IIIT Bangalore, and with me is the director of IIIT Bangalore, Professor Debabrata Das. Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure talking to you. So, sir, when we talk about Budget 2026, what according to you are the biggest expectations education sector has from the government in Budget 2026?
The speed at which the technology is changing across the globe. So if we want to be competitive as in Bharat on the way to the Vikasit Bharat by 2047, then time is essence, because we are left with only 20 years to compete with the most advanced countries.
Right.
So in this regard, I have only 2 points to say. Number one, that the speed, the hunger at which the higher education institution, faculty members and the scientific community wants to innovate, and from there to the product, and that coordination should happen with the finance departments of those funding agencies. Because funding agency people are very good, but the coordination between these two then will reduce the funding flow to these kind of deep tech innovations and also the deep science innovations to the product. So this will lead to the country to a different level, because the country will keep the intellectual property right inside the country, and that will lead to the product which will bring in better revenues, which will be fit to the more and more research. So this coordination for the speed of time is very, very essential for this budget.
Absolutely. Well explained, Professor Das. Talking about the education sector and the development of the education sector, in the past few years, we have seen the importance of digitalization and technology, and then came the AI, the artificial intelligence. Do you think the current system is investing properly, heavily, as compared to the global peers in artificial intelligence and advanced research, particularly in your sector?
Very good question, because the next wave of the whole world is towards artificial intelligence. It will impact all the areas, starting from A for agriculture to B for biotechnology, C for computer science. You can go up to the Z for all these areas where AI will be there. But this AI needs two directions. One, education, that our younger generations has to be trained by the concepts and the fundamentals of the AI. And second, use the AI concepts for the applied towards these areas.
Correct.
So our education part is taken care by the higher education system. Even though its number is small, because the faculty members' numbers are small who are expert really in conceptual in AI, but the product side we need more funding. Right. Because it needs larger infrastructures and much more number of younger generation has to come and do the research in these AI areas. For an example, agentic AI, AI security, and multiple areas of the AI computations and algorithms. Correct. So this needs funding and also the infrastructure to carry on. And for this, government has to quickly give attention for these higher education institutions, professors, and also research community to move fast and come out with the models.
Mr. Das, Professor Das, higher education system like IIIT Bangalore is investing in the future of India, and eventually you're educating the youth to become the future workforce. So while we talk about the same, how do you think can the system collate the both, the academics with the industry? How can we marry the both?
Excellent question, because this will be the pivotal for the growth. So three of them are very important institutions. One is academia, second is government, third is industry. All three of them has to work for the betterment of the country and the citizen.
Correct.
So now let me go step by step. Industry has every quarterly, they have to show their results. So their time clock is quarterly. Academia is a semester-wise, 6 months. This is a quarter, this is a 6 months. So there is a mismatch of the clock, for which the government has to chip in here.
Correct.
So government has to any new areas where industry doesn't see immediate return. So government has to, looking at the future and the demand of those areas, has to give the seed money to the academia to train the manpower. And when this clock matches with the industry within a 1 year or 2 years, the industry will come in smoothly and will invest more and more and take those IPR, intellectual property rights, and the products and the research and the manpower to the industry.
Correct.
And go ahead with their products.
Absolutely.
So this coordination has to happen in a very proper way. And industry will be the ultimately beneficial of this, which will give more jobs to this world. And Indian industries are extremely hungry because they are looking forward to highly trained manpower, which will come from these higher education institutions.
Absolutely. And, while we are talking about all of this, I hear you when you say that the expectation of the education sector majorly is to give support in terms of development of artificial intelligence, advancement of research, maybe some benefits to the students, also benefits to the professors, the scholarship, the sponsorships. But along with all of this, tell me one decision which the budget 2026 would take, which will be in the absolute favor of the education system, according to you.
I'll say about the two important things which is needed very much for the government to look at the educational institution, irrespective of. The one thing is that the meritorious students in any academic institution, or the students, I can say, should get financial support for their educational things, because the finance is needed for the students for their education to spend time more and more on educational focus than thinking about the finance. So if they are taking loans from the bank or something, or they're getting a scholarship, is fine. If loan, they should be given a subsidies on their loans and all. That is one. Two, educational institution buying lot of instruments for the educational purpose, which is a not for profit. So government should reduce the taxes from any educational institution infrastructure building, because ultimately if the educational institution saves some money, that will be spent for their further growth of the students and the institution's labs and all. So these two things are extremely important from government point of view. One is for the student benefits, other is for the infrastructure and the growth of the educational institutions to grow.
Absolutely. As they say that a well-learned student of today is the future of tomorrow. And a future-ready education system is not just the expectation, but it is the need of the hour. Professor Das, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining with us and talking on this most important topic. Today I am at Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, a 50-year-old apex body representing large and medium industries, and with me are the leading representatives of BCIC. I have with me Mr. Prashant Gokhale, President BCIC and Managing Director Buller India Private Limited. I also have with me Mr. K. Ravi, Senior Vice President BCIC Director VR eBiz Solutions Private Limited. And we also have Dr. Prashant Reddy, Vice President BCIC, Managing Director Fundermax India Private Limited. Gentlemen, thank you so much for giving your time to ET Now. It's a pleasure talking to you. I'll start with you, Prashant. What is the single biggest budget expectation from MSMEs according to you this year?
Good question. MSME is the largest, I would say, the backbone of our industry. If you ask me one, I will put two. One is clearly that how do we improve skill development at MSME. Government has done in the last budgeting about the large topic on skill development. How do we reach to the last mile at MSME about those skills? And second is that how do we really promote their innovation, not only in their processes but in their products. If you can really support those MSMEs to upgrade their innovation and not only quality but the innovation and the topics to the next level, this will take India to the next level when we talk about the MSMEs.
Very well explained and quite a crisp but impactful answer, I should say. Mr. Ravi, coming to you, tariff scenario was quite challenging, and in 2025 was all about it. We were talking so much about the situation. How do you think is India dealing with the international business on the lines of the same now? And what do you think are the expectations from the upcoming budget?
I think all of us know in the year 2025, after the tariff by the United States of 50%, there are a lot of industries which have really suffered. Particularly if you take the garment industry, the margins are so low, they can't sustain 50% vis-a-vis 25% by Vietnam or Bangladesh. And when it comes to diamonds, we are one of the top exporters of diamond, finished diamond to US. And even that, it has been a very great effect to that particular industry. Now, what we expect from the government is how they are going to support these industries by way of interest subvention or by way of subsidy, because I think the government should immediately talk to the US and see to that to a great extent, if this can be reduced, that would be a great boon for all the exporters. But I think one of the good steps taken by the government was the FTA. That is a free trade agreement which they have signed with UAE, Australia, New Zealand, UK. I think all these FTAs have taken a long time, but they have come faster now because of this scenario. And I'm sure this will help the exporters to see that instead of going to US, they go to other countries. Ultimately, the government has to support in these days of tough situations for the exporters.
Absolutely. Dr. Prashant, you have a deep dive knowledge about the sector which is always in the upcycle, as they say, and one of the sector which is very important for the development of the country, the real estate sector. Now, the long-term undertone of real estate sector, as the experts say and suggest, is positive. But on a short-term basis, what do you think are the requirements and what are the expectations of real estate sector from the upcoming budget, from the government?
So it's a very important question, and as you rightly acknowledged, the construction sector is the second largest employer in India and a significant contributor to the GDP. There have been a lot of reforms, but even the last GST reforms was quite helpful, but still there's scope for further improvement, especially on how one can avail input credit, especially on items like steel and cement. Plus, we also are talking of some reforms in customs. So more simplification in custom duty could also help. What we see is a rapid urbanization. This is an irreversible process, and the urbanization rate in India is relatively much lower compared to the developed cities of the world. And when we are talking of this rapid urbanization, are we prepared, infrastructure ready? I don't think that's there. So there is a necessity to invest more on the metros, more airports, better road connectivity, and these are things which the government needs to certainly pay attention to in this budget.
I agree to that fact, and on a longer term play, if we see for the tier 1 cities, the metros, there's a lot happened, but at the same time we are now looking at tier 2 cities as well. And like you rightly pointed out, when we talk about real estate, it's not just the residential real estate, but then the road and infra, the commercial space. There's a lot to think and understand. Coming back to you, Mr. Prashant, another piece which is very important is the existing credit schemes. Do you think the existing credit schemes are working at the ground level, or is there some sort of improvement required over there?
It is working at the ground level, but need is more. And how these MSMEs will have the access to those funds and easy access to the funds, and how do they use them into their productivity, into their production, increasing their, I would say that the skill levels, sustainability topics are there, because if you reach to those MSMEs and talk about sustainability, and that will link it to the entire value chain. So credit schemes today are working. It is not that it is not working, but always there is a need for more. Talking about the easy access to the funds, and second would be the easy access to the, I would say, land, because that becomes a big topic for any MSME to have their own piece of land to construct their own things, because that's a big piece of investment what they're looking. So if you really work on this and connect them to the entire value chain, then there is a win-win situation for the large industries, and those MSMEs can work together in the entire value chain in synchronized manner.
I second the thought. Dr. Prashant, again, coming to the real estate and in particular the housing space, giving a little deeper thought, how can budget policy improve housing supply in cities like Bangalore? Is there a need to revisit home loan tax benefits according to you?
Absolutely. There are two aspects here. One is what benefit can be given in terms of the banks control the interest rate, but the benefit in terms of the taxation, so that you get a waiver more on the interest as well as the principal component, so that it also encourages for a second home and third home. Today people live very far away from their work and all, and we somehow have this holiday partying with the 5-day week and no long weekends. People like to step out. So having a second home, third home could also drive the industry. At the same time, now this is for the affordable class. Now we are talking of the rest, which is the major portion. Affordable housing is still a very big subject. Most of them still cannot afford houses, and with the current inflation rates, whatever we have, and I think the government has to do something so that the land is available at a proper, more fair and cheaper prices, so that these houses can be really affordable for one who needs it. Making these houses far away from the city with poor connectivity is not helping the cause. So they should be part of the existing ecosystem. They should live among us. And I think we need a very balanced, so that everyone stays in the community there.
Absolutely, I agree, a quite rational and viable thought. But three important spaces, MSME, international business and real estate. It's absolute pleasure talking to you and understanding what the expectations of these sectors are from the upcoming budget. Thank you so much for giving your time. It was a pleasure talking to you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is Budget Yatra Bangalore edition, and when we talk about Bangalore, many sectors represent Bangalore, right from real estate, technology, semiconductor, defense, oil and energy, and many more. And today we are going to talk to industry leaders of real estate as well as oil energy sector. And with me today I have Mr. Suresh Hari, Immediate Past Secretary, Kradai, Karnataka. I have Mr. Zaid Mohammed, Treasurer, Bangalore Realtors Association of India. And we also have Mr. Varuchi Mishra, Partner and Group CEO, Yatra Energy Transitions Enterprise Private Limited. Gentlemen, thank you so much for giving your time to ET Now. My first question to you, Suresh sir. Real estate, as they say, is one of the backbone of the economy, and at the same time the upcycle in real estate trend is always there, but the immediate trend of real estate at times becomes contingent as well. Now what do you think is the real estate sector expecting from budget 2026?
We have a lot to expect from the budget, as we are always, but we have to be also practical. One of the biggest challenge today we are facing is on the affordable house. The definition of affordable house was fixed long back, and we need to revisit this particular aspect, because 60 and 90 square meters in the urban setup and the semi-urban setup is not a practical.
Completely agree and second the thought. In fact, I should say quite a rational and practical approach. Zaid, coming to you, again, expectations of real estate sector from budget 2026, but at the same time, when we talk about the challenges in real estate sector, tax benefits, home loan tax benefits, do you think there is a need to revisit all of these sentiments?
See, what I personally feel is real estate sector, as Sureshji just mentioned to you, very important, but we need to look at other soft things on the real estate sector. You see, GST, all these things are important, but walkability to home, reaching the location, connectivity, this is what the government should work on. Green energy, making sure, recycling the same water. Also, another very important thing is, you see, once the apartment or a property is built, you see the property has to be maintained well. Now, there should be somewhere the government should give some kind of benefits to these properties which can be maintained well, and resaleability should be another factor. You see, people have to keep buying and selling. You see, today one would buy a home when one is just starting their career, but as they climb up the ladder, they would like to upscale and move on to a much, much better property. So in that sense, government should look at some, way where, some kind of a stamp duty is also, passed on to these people here at the end of the day.
Absolutely, I completely agree to it. And Mr. Varuchi, energy sector, another important and quite a complex sector, if I may say. And the sector, of course, will have expectations like every sector from budget 2026. So your take on the same, and what should budget 2026 prioritize to balance India's energy security with its clean energy transition goals, according to you?
One simple answer to that would be that the budget should focus on converting India into a gas economy long term. While you have crude oil, which is only in the ground, India has huge alternative sources of gas. So biogas, you could have gas, hydrogen, you could CO2, you could do coal gasification. So if you were to just look at it, India produces, or India has roughly 500 million tons of waste, organic waste. Theoretically speaking, all of that could be converted into fungible hydrocarbons. And if 15% is the yield, you are talking about 75 million tons of hydrocarbons that you could have, which is 3 times the production of India. Therefore, it's important that we move towards the gas economy. So the budget needs to do that. About hydrogen, the infrastructure is already in place. So we talk a lot about infrastructure. But infrastructure is already in place. You look at the European hydrogen backbone. They're planning to have 30,000 kilometers of pipeline, of which 60 to 70% would be converted pipelines from the existing pipelines. India has roughly 25,000 kilometers of pipeline grid. If we were to put 5% hydrogen into this grid, you will have reduced your LNG or gas imports by 5%. And that is $2 billion, 2 to 3 billion forex outgo. Therefore, all I can say is the budget needs to enable gas economy.
It was quite an insightful number-backed statistics which you did give. But then, since we have paucity of time, I just want to ask one common question to all 3 of you experts as to what one decision should the government take in Budget 2026 which will impact your sector. And Mr. Suresh Ari, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I have to talk about the local. Metro is one of the connectivity that is very important. By 26 end, if all the metro connectivity is fully operational, the displacement of people from the core area to the peripheral areas will be easier, which will enhance their mobility, which will enhance their productivity, and spread of your utilizable resources of the community being properly utilized. Otherwise, centering them all in the cluster is more a burden for the city economy. So I think that is something which the mobility is important factor for us.
Well explained, sir. Zayed, what would you say?
I would personally say that, the classification should be very, very clearly defined. You see, luxury home and mid kind of housing. So there is a difference. So government has to accept the fact and give those benefits across the board. You see, what luxury housing can add a lot more to taxation. So those benefits can be passed on to the marginalized homes. Look at, locations, and even urbanization also. You see, different cities have to be looked differently because every city can't be the same. So you can't have the same yardstick at all cities. So we have to get this in a much, much broader way. And government has to start incentivizing, other sectors apart from just directly to the real estate. There's so many supporting sectors.
Subsectors.
So that will also make a lot of difference, you see.
Yeah, that's a very important point which you did touch base. The connecting sectors when we talk about real estate, for that matter, cement, home decor, so many subsectors, and in particular when we talk about real estate also we have the commercial as well as the residential real estate. It's a lot to take into consideration. Mr. Barochi, what will be your thoughts?
About what?
Just one decision the government should take in Budget 2026 which will impact your sector.
I think the government should get its regulations very clearly sorted about carbon pricing. Carbon capture and sequestration will keep our use of fossil fuels clean because we are one of the most impacted countries as far as climate change is concerned. So if we can use some support from the budget, from the government, $30, $40 per ton of CO2, then we are in a huge place to have reduced the impact of climate because we can lay hubs for CCUS, carbon capture and sequestration. So that area needs to be really well understood and acted upon.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining with us and talking on all of these important sectors. And I'm sure the voice will reach at places than we think. It's the budget 2026 and all of the sectors are very important to the government. And now we are talking about what are the expectations of these sectors. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.